I have a problem with this picture, and this picture, and this picture. I took all of these. They're loaded with a lot of personal feelings that are a part of me trying to process making a change, to set a new goal, to stop creating cinematic images. If you're not a filmmaker, you could substitute the word cinematic for the Pinterest and Instagram ready word aesthetic, and hopefully you can still track along. As I continue along my creative journey, I look around at others in various stages of their own. And while the internet is a great learning resource, I feel like it misguides people on what is really, truly creatively important. So as I plan to take some next steps myself, I think about the path I want to take and to personally shake off a lot of misguided information I've picked up along the way. And instead, I want to focus on one thing that I know is the truth. I look on Instagram occasionally and I see lots of really beautiful images. I often feel jealous and start comparing myself. And on many levels, this work is visually and technically better than the work I'm producing. And there are lots of comments calling it so cinematic. This work engages, it catches your eye, and people click like in the heat of the moment, in the sweetness, in the sweet heat of the moment. But kind of like candy, after a while I find myself getting a little sick of it if it doesn't satisfy something deeper. It doesn't nourish you with an idea. It's sort of like the art section at IKEA or some home store. When was the last time you were in the art section of IKEA and it took your breath away? The best you get there is, oh, that's cute. The only people with tears in their eyes in the art section of IKEA are either toddlers or husbands who've been wandering aimlessly for an hour and a half and just want a dang hot dog. So when I'm personally feeling anxiety or whatever it is when I look at this work that is super sweet and super gorgeous, there is no idea. This is just me sort of thinking about it for the first time, but it's made the cinematic word in the back of my head become a bit of a red flag. Maybe I'm just jealous and I'm trying to justify my own work compared to others. And I don't think folks are intentionally using the word cinematic as a slur, but I do think deeply, unfortunately, and I think deeply about why they're using that word. It seems like they don't have any other words because the work doesn't have much else to offer them. So let's detour through some semantics. You can take the suffix "ic" to mean a few things, but in this case it kind of means just like cinema. Cinema-like. Not really anything, but it kind of looks like something. It kind of looks like an ingredient of cinema. It's kind of like a low-fat cookie. When you take a bite, it kind of looks like a cookie, it kind of tastes like a cookie, kind of feels like a cookie in your mouth, but there's something missing. And this stupid analogy, what you're missing is butter. And if there's any analogy for an idea or story that I could come up with, there's nothing better to compare it to than butter. And while I'm excited that the idea of design and visual harmony and aesthetic is becoming more valued by a wider swath of people, if it's not communicating something meaningful, then why is it there? I've talked in videos in the past about the balance of style and substance, preferring useful things over beautiful things, or having a balance of the two. I seem to constantly go back to a certain brand's mouse that is a little too far on the wrong side of that balance. If it's not communicating something meaningful, then why does it exist? It's simply content creation, a title that makes me existentially sad. On one hand, yes, things can just sit there and look pretty. But on the other hand, you could argue that I'm not being just a stupid critical jerk, and instead mourning lost opportunities. If creating cinematic content is your goal, I don't want to dissuade you. I actually want to do the opposite. I want to tell you that you're so close. So you're just missing one final step. The story, the butter, the reason they'll stay. We just got to take that next step. I mean, sometimes I will stay for the literal butter, ideally if it's layered throughout the popcorn, if that's not too much to ask. So maybe it's just me, and I rant about this word cinematic, I put it down, I tell you about how it's a red flag, but it is only because of personal reflection and choices that I've made. I'm not looking at your work, I'm not making an opinion on your work, I'm making an opinion on mine and trying to change. So I rant about the word cinematic, but believe me, I am not immune. I hopped in the car the other night to take some pictures. It was foggy, it was pretty, ideal situation. And when I got home and when I look back at the images, I could feel this dark existential dread, this dull drone in the background of my head. I remember sitting in Capture One, working on the shot and thinking, I just wish I had a person in the photo. I wish there was somebody or something, a reason. It just felt like a missed opportunity. And of course, my worst feelings were confirmed the next day when I was speaking with a friend and he said, hey, I saw those cool foggy photos you took the other night. They just needed a... And then we just went on and talked about this horror story, a film that we could have shot. How cool would it have been to have a story ready and written so that when the stars align, we can gear up and go out and capture something truly special. That's where I want to be moving forward, to stop creating cinematic images and to start creating cinema. So back to popcorn. We've all seen the screen grabs from Blade Runner, from The Godfather. The train heist scene in Jesse James is mind-blowing to me. But these images are made in partnership with a story. It's the story that makes these films eternal. The cinematography is what we watch. The story is why we watch. And the intersection of these two is cinema. Not every shot in these films is Instagrammably cinematic. Some are front-lit. Some are shot at high noon. Some are unlit. And these are all cardinal sins if you watch too much YouTube. And these choices, while sometimes practical, generally just are serving the story. That's the sign of true great cinematography. It won't take you long to watch a few interviews with Roger Deakins and he always comes back to the story.
Movies have become more about the aesthetics than they have about the story and the content and what the film's trying to say. I find that really disappointing and somewhat depressing.
So when you're stopping at creating cinematic images, you lose the story's context. You're letting go of a whole dimension. Take a film like Coherence. It's a really fun watch. It was shot on a Canon 5D, the granddaddy to this camera. It had no dynamic range, way too much contrast. But as you get sucked into the story, the camera doesn't matter. The camera like that was critical to catching lightning in a bottle. I've been on shoots where it takes so long to move the big, stupid camera that the magic's gone. As much as I love the beautiful images and giant set pieces of Blade Runner or Dune, I equally enjoy mumblecore-ish films like Frances Ha or Blue Jay, which I just rewatched the other day. Frances Ha was shot on a camera worse than the camera I'm shooting this stupid vlog on. And Blue Jay never even had a script. It started with a 2-page treatment, a great idea, a great story, and 2 really great actors. Those films are stripped down to their essence. If you have a great idea, a great story, it's almost all you need. I was watching Monty Python with my son last week, and it's hilarious how low quality it is. The idea can do so much heavy lifting.
This demonstrates the value of not being seen.
So when someone asks, what are you up to? What are you creating? What are you working on? And you reply, cinematic imagery, beautiful aesthetic visuals, a vibe. That sounds depressingly boring to me. It sounds like something right out of Zoolander. It can be silly, stupid. You can have fart jokes in it. It can be a skit. It doesn't have to be a dark, depressing drama. It can just be something. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you and I, we, the greater we, us, I hope we all make our aim not cinematic images, but cinema, story. And making images that serve a story is a completely different practice than making images that serve an algorithm. Does this mean you can't just hop in your car on a foggy night and take images? Of course not. And I will continue to do this, take my camera along with me as much as I can and wander, because that is building practice and learning your craft. This is an appetizer for the main course, so don't miss out on the best part. I feel like you can take that one step further. If you're an aspiring director, balance the shooting with the writing. If you want to be a cinematographer, search out writers and directors who have stories. Pull references, plagiarize shots for your own story's purpose. If you look at Wes Anderson's work, if you watch any director's commentary with him, he's constantly rattling off the references for every frame. Forget which camera has the most dynamic range. Forget which editing software is the best. Focus on making a story that only you can make. I feel compelled to share this thought of mine about the word cinematic. Look where it got us. Arguably nowhere. I'm sorry, or thank you for being my therapy. I look forward to the future where we do it for ourselves and aren't just chasing dopamine highs from multiple likes. How long can you and I go on saying, I could shoot a movie, or I would love to shoot a movie? Well, are you shooting a movie, Jesse? Are you gonna? Huh? Pardon? I told you I would. I just gotta finish a couple things first.